Welcome to Really American. I am Michael Hain. We just wrapped up an amazing week at the Democratic National Convention. Shirley Orange Foulious is crying and leaking Cheeto dust all over Mar-a-Lago. By the way, you want to see what I'm drinking out of today? It's mirrored, so you can't really see it, but I love it when I wake up and Trump is not president. Let's have a sip. Oh, God, MAGA tears. Very salty. I'm drinking from this cup because I don't think he's going to be president again. After this past week, this enthusiasm stays, seems unchecked. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Gavin Newsom. Gavin has been a fierce defender of Joe Biden. The man was actually considered, many were considering him as possibly stepping in after President Biden announced that, or he hadn't announced yet, but the speculation was that California Governor Gavin Newsom might fill that role, considering his, his enormous experience as governor of California and just his intimate knowledge with Joe Biden and all of his policies. There's a lot of crossover there. But Gavin is just, not fiercely loyal. I mean, he's not blindly loyal like a maggot. He's a decent human being. He has been a proponent of Joe Biden, his policies, and he also knows that he has a solid future, that eventually his time will come around, and surely he'll take advantage of that. Anyway, much like Mayor Pete, well, I still call him Mayor Pete. I know he's Secretary of Transportation, and he most likely is going to be Secretary of State. I see that happening. Pete Buttigieg, he's still Mayor Pete to me. How he goes on Fox News and just politely asks them to go book themselves, Gavin is similar in that sense. He very much can engage in verbal gymnastics and expose their projection and all their almighty hypocrisy, and do so in a way that is, digestible and likable. The same way that like Mayor Pete has his Midwestern style, and he's like polite, but he's also aggressive at the same time. Gavin kind of has that style, but it's like West Coast. I call it West Coast style. So that's what he did. Anyway, he appeared on Fox News and just completely, one by one, he just exposed all of the fallacious talking points and attacks on President Biden's policy, which obviously extends to Kamala. Let's take a look at that.
California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom.
It's good to be with you. That's a hell of a few weeks, those two clips.
That's an evolution. You were one of the last high-profile defenders.
Yeah.
You stuck in there.
That's how I was raised. You don't turn your back on someone who's had our back, and you go home, as my dad used to say, with the one who brought you to the dance. So I believe in the character and decency of Joe Biden and his administration, so I was proud to do that.
You're one of the up-and-coming stars. You're already a star in the Democratic Party. Why are you not speaking at this convention?
I spoke on the floor. It's what I was asked to do, and I'm doing everything I'm being asked to do, and you'll see me plenty out on the campaign trail for both the president and with the vice president himself.
There's a lot of feeling of enthusiasm coming, every night. It's, the people in this hall are fired up. But taking this to the campaign trail, if you look at the latest polls, the direction of the country, right direction 25.3%, wrong track 64.8%. Why? Why is it on the wrong
Man, we've been polarized and traumatized. The last 3.5 years have been difficult. The last 5, 6, 7 years.
That's a Biden-Harris administration.
The Trump administration, COVID. I mean, the challenge
against an incumbent that is a Biden-Harris.
We had 14.8% unemployment in April of 2020. We lost 154,000 manufacturing jobs during the Trump years. We're just coming out of this recession. We're finally taming inflation.
Still kind of weird to me that a network that had to settle a near $1 billion lawsuit for, blatantly lying to its miserably uninformed sheep viewers about the election of 2020 can still not only exist as a network, but continuously can pretend to know about facts and statistics when they are essentially fake news. Shut the fuck up, faux news. But do go on, Gavin.
We're
but
finally
you hear what you're saying. You're erasing the last 3.5 years.
I'm saying I think it's more directional. I think it's been a challenging time for this country for many, many years, even before Biden and Harris were elected.
And they couldn't get it done to change the tide.
My God, I mean, we're the envy of the world. Don't take my word for it. Wall Street Journal, in terms of economic growth.
But we're not the envy of the domestic.
Shh, quiet you. The adults are speaking.
In terms of economic growth.
We're not the envy of the domestic wrong track, right track.
I know. Same time, we're seeing record number of jobs, 11 times more jobs created by the Biden-Harris administration, even with the adjustment today of 818,000 jobs.
Which is a little weird, don't you think?
That means 14.9 million jobs since they got into office. That is, Brett, 11 times more than the last 3 Republican administrations combined. The lowest black unemployment, Hispanic unemployment, the lowest unemployment for women in our lifetime, an American manufacturing policy, an industrial policy that's worker-centered, that's advantaging red and rural districts of this country more than it is even blue.
Perhaps Gavin is referring to the infrastructure bill that afforded, lots of red states all of this excellent funding for transportation and infrastructural improvements. The very things that these dim-witted dipshits voted against and were taking credit for and enjoying. Whereas their cult leader, I never got the bill done. I talked about infrastructure. I said, Mexico is going to build a wall. Well, we got some piece of crap that couldn't withstand wind. Maybe I should have asked the great Hannibal Lecter. Do go on, guys.
All those stats. But what I'm saying is that when I listen to these speeches, it sounds like you're running against the incumbent Donald Trump. But it's not the incumbent Donald Trump. It is Biden-Harris in the White House.
Yeah, but right now you feel the fresh air of progress. You just do. You can't deny that. And there's a stale air of normalcy, a stale air of the past represented in Donald Trump. And I mean this sincerely. I know this tough audience that's going to take it from me. He's derivative of himself. He's less interesting. I'm less interested. He's not as entertaining. He seems way off his game for some time now. Ever since his convention speech, something just seems off.
Okay, but for the people that say he gets it done, and it's not hope and change and touchy-feely stuff, it is substance and policy, what do you say to them? There's some people that think there should be more meat on the bone on this policy. If you go to the Harris website, there is no policy listed on the website.
Well, I'm happy to compare and contrast policies coming from the Trump campaign that have the form and substance of fog. This is a convention. This is about why and what. Karl Rove said it best today in an op-ed he wrote. Says there's plenty of time for policy details. It's the Biden-Harris administration as it relates to the IRA and the CHIPS and Science Act, as it relates to policies to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, all extraordinarily popular programs with the American people. We have seeded tremendous amount of economic opportunity across this country, and she has the opportunity tonight to turn the page on the past, to your point, legitimate point, and talk about a compelling future where everyone feels included.
What about her?
Oh, you use one of the most diabolical Republican minds in Karl Rove against them. Bravo. Golf crap, bravo. I must say, though, he's spectacular when handling Fox, but Gavin brought up an interesting point. Conventions are about narrative, are about energy, decency, trying to actually relate to average Americans, normal people, not weird cult fetishes, taping tampons to your ear, whatever the fuck this was. I don't even know. He just looks like a melted Ken doll. I don't even know, or like he's gonna have a magical act in Las Vegas. I don't know. And then whatever this deranged, psychotic, verbal dysentery that he continues to spew came out from Trump at the RNC. You couldn't get a better contrast into what you're going to get versus what you have been getting and what you will never get better. It is just a tiresome act of pity, grievances, factless lies, just insanity, and America is fucking done with it. Anyway, I am Michael Hain. This is Really American. Please subscribe to our channel and be sure to check me out on my latest TikTok before I lose it at Mike Hain Comedian. Talk to you later.